CNBC-TV18 and Hindustan Unilever Limited. Lessons in Marketing Excellence. Season 17.
Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the Lessons in Marketing Excellence Season 17. I'm Mugdha Kalra, and it is truly wonderful to have you all join us today as we celebrate a platform that has inspired generations of marketers and continues to evolve with the times. Brought to you by Hindustan Unilever in partnership with CNBC TV 18, Lessons in Marketing Excellence, or L.I.M.E as we call it lovingly, for 16 seasons, stood as the gold standard of business school competitions, where India's brightest minds redefine what marketing excellence looks like. But as we all know, the world of business doesn't stand still, and neither does Lime. This season, we bring that legacy into the now with a refreshed format designed for today's fast moving, digital first world. So instead of the traditional case study presentations that we've been doing, season 17 taps into the heartbeat of today's marketplace, Gen Z. I know Gen Zs are difficult to factor in, understand, but the participants will be challenged to decode this new age consumer cohort. They might uncover what makes corporate girlies tick, figure out how to engage newbie parents, or even tap into the world of green flag men, and then craft communication and media plans that seamlessly connect iconic brands to this new generation. After all, India's most trusted brands have cleaned, healed, nourished, and inspired us for decades. The challenge today is to keep them just as relevant in a world of shorter attention spans, changing formats, ever evolving audiences. So, Line Season 17 is where legacy meets the now. But before we dive deeper into this season's challenge, let's hear more about the initiative itself. And who better to share that perspective than someone who has seen this platform grow and inspire year after year. Please join me in welcoming Sri Nandan Sundaram, Executive Director, Home Care, Hindustan Unilever. Tan, over to you.
Hello everyone. Very warm welcome to each one of you as we meet for the launch of the 17th season of Lessons in Marketing Excellence, or L.I.M.E as you would know this popularly. What's L.I.M.E in a line? It's a flagship case study competition that is run by Hindustan Unilever Limited along with CNBC. I think the interesting bit about us and CNBC TV18 is this program is now run for 16 successive years with enormous success, and it's an absolute delight to share with you that in the 16th year we had over 22,000 students across the length and breadth of the country engage with us through L.I.M.E and create ideas that have been strategic to both industry and to society. Now you might wonder what makes a program like this stick for over 16 years. It is our ability to choose a theme that is contemporary, that is extremely relevant to the times we find ourselves in, and this year is no exception. Our theme this year is Legacy Meets the Now. What does legacy meets the now mean? It means how do we reimagine the iconic brands that have made HUL famous relevant to today's generation, which is each one of you. The reality is our brands have become famous and have become successful because there's an underlying insight that is very strong. And the task in front of you is to understand what insight makes this brand successful, and then come up with an idea that can make this brand relevant to each one of you or your generation, which is really making it social first. So therefore, what do you need to do? You need to pick up one iconic HUL brand and then work through what made this brand famous in your understanding, and then come up with an idea that takes that insight and puts it in front of audiences like you in a social first world. Now the first thing on this is, why is this so relevant? It's not just about this case study, but many of you who desire to be in a marketing career would at some point in time handle a brand that has a very rich legacy but has a huge opportunity by broad-basing its appeal to audiences like yourselves. And therefore don't treat this as just a case study, but treat it as a real example of putting yourself in a brand manager's shoes and living that life and testing yourself on brands with mediums that you know so well. So the other bit on this case is you don't have to learn a new medium. It's the social media that you are extremely comfortable with. All you need to do is reflect on what content, what conversations got your attention, and that's one side, so therefore you know what works for you in this medium. On the other is take a brand of your choice, understand what made it famous, come down to an insight and translate it into an idea into the mediums that you use day in and day out. That's what Lessons in Marketing Excellence Season 17 is all about. And personally, I'm really looking forward to some outstanding ideas that we can pick up and bring it alive on your behalf on the brands that you so admire. And trust me, it's going to be awesome for you to see some of the ideas that you put out actually come alive very soon. So that's what L.I.M.E is all about. And last but not the least, yes, it's a competition, but what's most important is this is the fun side of marketing. So as you form your groups and prepare for the cases, have a lot of fun, learn using mediums of today, using technology of today and tools of today. So therefore it's a win-win where we get great ideas from you, but more importantly, you form a really good view of what a career in marketing is all about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stan, for those inspiring words and for setting the perfect tone for this season of L.I.M.E. Now, as we celebrate legacy meets the now, it's equally important to understand the opportunities that lie ahead for young leaders. To guide us on that journey is someone who's driving innovation every single day at HUL. Please join me in welcoming Suraj Santanam, Head Innovations, Home and Hygiene, Unilever South Asia, who will share his perspective on HUL and the exciting careers in sales and marketing that shape the future of this company. Over to you, Suraj.
Thank you, Mugdha. Hi, everyone. Good evening. As somebody who joined HUL about 10 and a half years ago, I think it's a big privilege to be sitting here and speaking about the firm. So I'm just going to take the next few minutes to explain about what the opportunity ahead with HUL is. What's HUL? Like you guys, all of you would have heard about HUL here and there, but I think I'm going to use this opportunity to kind of pitch HUL and what kind of careers are available. So if I can have the slides up. Yeah. Yeah, we can go to the slide. Yeah, I think all of you would have heard about what a big company HUL is. Just to put things in perspective in one slide, right? I think this is one firm that's been here for about 90 plus years. And truly we believe that what's good for India is good for HUL. Right? And from a scale perspective in this unicorn age, I think HUL has an annual turnover, not valuation, annual turnover of about 7 billion. We reach 9 out of 10 households use our brands in one way or the other. And for most of the categories that we operate in, we have the number one position, right? And none of this has come by fluke. This is years and years and years of consistent performance that has kept us here. 64 billion is the market cap, and therefore a top 10 in terms of market cap in this country, right? The breadth, and again, this is something that's common knowledge. The distribution depth and width of HUL is very well known. We have over 27 factories, and these are just the owned factories. 3,500 distributors across this country, and we actually reach 9 million outlets, right? And of course, we are the largest advertiser in this country, whether it's on TV, whether it's any other medium that you pick. We are by far the largest advertiser in this country. Now, not just that, Shakti program, I'm sure some of you have heard. We pioneered and continue to pioneer in a lot of community initiatives with women micro entrepreneurs. So that's something that we are very proud of. And all of this put together has made us the number one employer of choice across sectors. And I don't think this is for the last 1 or 2 years. We've been at it for the last few years. So that's HUL in a page. Right, here we can move on to the next slide. Yeah, we are what our brands are. We operate in about 15 categories with about 50 brands. I'm sure a lot of the brands that you use or you would have used, you won't even know are from the stables of HUL. That's how wide we are in terms of how we operate. We work across the price pyramid. We can go to the next slide. And across categories, like I said, some of our biggest categories are, of course, laundry, skin cleansing, hair care, skin care, foods and refreshments, etc. So it's here. I'm not going to belabor on this. We can go to the next slide. I spoke about price and our entire portfolio across price pyramids. So I think the other thing that we do very well is we cater to every Indian's needs and desires. So whether it's somebody sitting in rural UP or the Ambani household, I'm fairly confident that an HUL product is somewhere there, right? Whether it's strivers, as we call them, where the annual household income is less than 3,000 euros, I think we have products tailored for them, whether it's the Vim bar or whether it's the wheel powder, right? And there are the aspirers and affluent and super affluent, and we have an entire portfolio constructed for each of them. And we stay relevant to each of our consumer needs, and we continue to grow. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. So I just want to take a few minutes to speak about what does all of this mean. Yeah, a great company, big company, sometimes can get confusing, right? I almost want all of you to think of HUL as a rites of passage, right? It's a great company to work with. I'm sure all of you have heard about the great culture at HUL and the freedom and the opportunity that you get at HUL to create and craft your own career. And I'm just going to speak about that. Can we move to the next slide, please? So at HUL, I think fundamentally we believe that people own their own career. I'll give you a couple of examples as we go ahead on how varied career choices people can have, right? So whether it's your learning, what's your choice, everything is in your own hands. There is absolutely nothing called one size fits all. I mean, there is nothing like that. You can do whatever you want. You can go from supply chain. You can go from one function to the other function. You can go from one country to another country. You can choose to do whatever you want to do, and there is opportunity for everyone in HUL, right? We are committed to equity and transparency, and if you have an aspiration, we have an opportunity. That's largely what I want you to remember. And not only that, Unilever is a global company. HUL is of course the Indian company, but then there is Unilever Global. So whether you want to work in rural India or whether you want to work in London, right? The opportunity is immense, and all of that exists. So I'm just going to can we move to the examples of the careers? Yeah, so I think these are two example careers. Of course, you can reach out and we can give you countless examples of how varied careers have existed, right? So Atmaja, of course, the career graph tells you she joined as an HR and now she's in sales. You can move from HR, and I personally know so many people who have joined as HR and moved into marketing. And of course, there is also the route of you can join as a sales and marketing UFLP, and you can continue your journey doing sales, marketing, multiple marketing roles across brands, etc. I have known of people who have joined in finance and then moved into marketing. So I think, needless to say, the opportunities are immense. I think we are very open. In fact, we are very excited if people choose to craft and create their own careers the way they want to, basis their learning objectives. And that's what I think is up in front of you if you join HUL, and that's the pitch that I wanted to take this few minutes to deliver. Right now, I'm passing on the camera to Vamika and to Aditya. They will take you through the L.I.M.E case season 17. There is a lot of context. I think Srinandan has already kind of set the context on why the case this time is about iconic meets the now. We are very excited. I'm just going to leave you with one line. Please have fun. And over to Aditya and Vamika to launch the case.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Suraj. Hi, everyone. I'm Vamika. I am currently the brand manager on premium teas I handle Taj Mahal and Lipton, and I am extremely excited to talk about the new L.I.M.E case this year. My understanding is that you guys have the case that has been sent to you. So what I will do is walk you through the context, what the case is, what we're expecting, and then hand over to Aditya to take you through the metrics of evaluation, some guardrails, etc. So the idea, and I think both Suraj and Srinandan put it out pretty well, which is that the whole theme is around legacy meets now. And like we all know, HUL's been here forever. There are all of these brands that we use on a daily basis. However, the ways to reach the consumer has changed. The consumer itself has changed. And now it's about reimagining these brands in this new context. This new context is with a new audience, with an audience that consumes content on very different platforms, with an audience that has very low attention span. And given that these are the shifts that have happened, how would you still stay relevant, especially for these big core iconic brands that we have? How can these brands stay relevant to the new audience, to the new media patterns, and to this diminishing attention span? And that's broadly the context. It's a very, very exciting and fun opportunity, honestly, because A, you get to work on brands that are literally legacy. Your parents, grandparents, everyone would have heard of them. But you get to imagine them for yourself and for the people around you, because and I'll come to the twist and the kind of audiences we've selected, but they're all very real, very tangible audiences that a lot of us are part of or know somebody who's part of it. So it's a very exciting opportunity. Um, and I am personally very excited about this case. So here's the deal. The iconic brands that we've selected for you for this case are Surf Excel, Lifebuoy, Vaseline, Horlicks, and Lakme. So you have a bunch of brands from across categories that you can select. What you would need to do is select one of these brands and now select a new target group for this brand. I will tell you the kinds of target groups that you can select from. But the idea is that the target groups that I'm going to talk about are absolutely new. They are audiences that the brands have not spoken to before. And so it's up to you on how you decide to make the message relevant for the target group that you select. So I'll repeat the iconic brands: Surf Excel, Lifebuoy, Vaseline, Horlicks, and Lakme. The new TGs that you can select from, and you have to select one of the following four target groups. The first one is corporate girlies. These are young women who have just started a new job. So think people like you who are at a cusp of starting a new career, probably live in metro cities, hustling, and that's really the vibe and uh, the vibe of this target audience. The second target audience would be newbie parents. These are parents who are raising children in a digital first world today. They are discovering parenting. They are trying to understand this whole new change in their life, and but they are doing this in a very new context where digital is everywhere, unlike when we were growing up. The third target audience is fitness freaks. These are your marathoners, your Pilates princess, your gym bros. These are the people who have really, really made fitness their personality. And how do we kind of talk to them for the brands? And I'm sure all of you know this, but fitness as a lifestyle is booming. The newer generation is more um, fitness conscious. We see a shift to healthier alternatives across, at least on food and beverages. I know that there's a shift to healthier food, beverages, and just a lifestyle in general. And so that becomes your third target audience. And the fourth one is green flag men. Um, Finally, men are becoming more emotionally aware, and this target audience are men who are comfortable with taking care of themselves. So not the old fashioned stereotype that we've seen in movies where the man is masculine, macho, can't show feelings. Yeah, so all of that is now outdated. We're talking about green flag men. These are men who are okay to be vulnerable, okay to take care, okay to express their emotions, to be there for people. And this is a whole new audience that at least our brands have not really talked to. You'll also notice that all four target groups are people with high disposable income. They're probably using Instagram. Their digital habits would be like yours, which is an India point one metro city kind of audience. So that's broadly what you need to do. Now, coming to the specifics of the task at hand. For the first round of Lime, you need to create a piece of content for one of the brands that I mentioned and for one of the target groups that I mentioned. So marry the brand into the target group. What's extremely important is that you understand the brand and what made it what it is today. So understand the legacy of the brand, what it stands for, and I'll give you a gist of the brand's propositions in a bit. But understand that completely, and then reimagine what would be a relevant uh, way of communicating, or what would be the relevant message for the target group that you have selected. So that would be step two. And then you create your piece of content. Of course, keeping in mind that consumers right now have low attention span, you have to ensure that the piece of content you create is enjoyable. It is something that she would stop and view. Should be thumb stopping, should be something that she enjoys, and should be something that she will recall. Because at the end of the day, any piece of advertising should be branded, memorable, for it to actually lead to any conversion at the end of the day. So now I'll just quickly tell you all what each brand stands for, just so that you have an idea. But I would highly recommend you deep dive on YouTube. All brands communications are present, are publicly available. So do your deep dive. But just to give a gist, Surf Excel stands for tough stain removal. Life Boy stands for protection guarding. Vaseline is all about healing and nourishing. Horlicks is about nourishment and growth, and Lakme is about beauty expertise. This is truly the brand's core, but I would urge you to go back to the history of the brands and watch all the pieces of communication, follow the brands on Instagram, understand what they have been communicating till now, what they are doing now, how has their proposition evolved, and keep all of this in mind when you reimagine the message for the new target group that you select. So that's about it on the case. I hope you guys are clear. Anyway, we have a Q&A where we can answer any doubts. But this is a very, very exciting case. And unlike the previous editions, this one is very rooted in digital, rooted in the here and now. And it's an exciting opportunity for all of you to reimagine some of these legends. So handing over to Aditya to now take you through the evaluation criteria and what we expect from you.
Hey, thanks, Vamika. You told the question paper, you've given the answer key responsibility to me. Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Aditya. I joined HUL about 8 years back. Currently, I'm the marketing manager for Horlicks Plus. And honestly, I joined HUL for one reason and one reason alone, which was to create a marketing campaign. So it's great that as college students, you're getting an opportunity to do that. It's school work, it's exciting work, but it's not easy, as you will discover through this journey. And I just wanted to tell you that the way we will evaluate the campaigns that you will create is very similar, or rather exactly similar to how I as a brand manager evaluate, let's say, a marketing campaign idea. So the good ideas genuinely could have real world applications. And as a brand manager of one of the brands that Vamika spoke about, trust me, we will steal with pride and give credit where it's due. Yeah. But what we will look for more than anything else is number one, relevance. So you have a set of TGs that Vamika has spoken about. The proposition that you finally define needs to be relevant for that TG. Yeah. So let's say, for example, let's take the newbie parents as a TG, right? If it is something that's too individualistic and too functional and too much about them, probably not a relevant take to push to them, right? It has to be about how it simplifies their job as a newbie parent. And this is true for each TG, because see, at the end of the day, consumers buy things that are relevant to them, right? They remember brands that speak in a language that is relevant to them, and therefore that's where it begins, and quite frankly sometimes it ends. Yeah. The second most important thing is brand fit. In marketing, it is really important that you land the brand along with the proposition, right? Otherwise, it's equivalent to sending good vibes out there. So which will not have material business impact. And therefore, ask yourself, is can only this brand tell this story, and is this story incomplete without the brand? Yeah, that's the best way to measure if the brand fit for the proposition that you've chosen for your TG fits with the brand that you've chosen. The third thing that we'll look at is creativity, and here just go crazy. Yeah, because it's really in this world with a lot of information, people being battered with content across multiple platforms, the only way to stand out is to truly be creative, right? And hence it becomes very important. And the last bit is execution, and creativity and execution is different. Yeah, the creative idea is like a theater in which the proposition comes to life, but execution is about consistency, and consistency not just of your creativity but also of your proposition, your brand, and the final story of the campaign or the ad that you make. So yeah, so go crazy, go wild with this. I think we have a set of really interesting TGs and great iconic brands. The marketeer in you, the ad maker in you should find this interesting, but stay relevant, ensure there is good brand fit, be creative, and have very clear and structured execution. Yeah. With that, I'm handing it back to Mugdha to take us forward.
Thank you so much, Suraj, Aditya, Vamika, for that engaging deep dive into the case. But I'm not gonna let you go because we do have questions. We already have a few questions coming in from our audiences, but I'm encouraging everybody who's watching. If you think you still need to have your questions answered, please use this opportunity and send us your questions. And I'd like to invite Pallavi Goswami now, employer brand and Unilever Future Leaders Program ULFP manager at HUL, to moderate this Q&A session. So over to you, and let the questions flow.
Thank you so much, Mugdha. And for everyone who has joined us on call, we hope you're as excited to work on the case as we have been while we were, crafting it out for all of you. So before I start with the Q&A, just a quick recap or a sneak peek rather on what L.I.M.E season 17 is going to look like for all of you. So while we have launched round 1 today for all of you, we are going to have a semi-finale with the top 30 teams, and at least 8 to 10 teams from this virtual launch will be going directly to the semi-finale, which is round 2. And for round 2, you will be making a full funnel marketing plan, and you will be presenting the same to a virtual jury, which will be led by senior leaders at HUL. So that is round 2. And from round 2, the top 5 teams will be going to the grand finale of L.I.M.E season 17, where you will be given a topic of national and social importance, which is something that we at HUL hold very close to our hearts, that L.I.M.E has been associated with topics of national and social importance for the past 16 years. But that's not it. The top 5 teams will be given an HUL brand manager, supply chain and R&D manager, finance manager, as well as an influencer. And so you will be given a whole crack team to sort of help you out with the topic that will be there for the grand finale. We will actually be going live with your submission and seeing the market response. So guys, if there was ever a time to, to actually create something of your own that you value and to see it going live in the market, to actually see how it performs. This is an open challenge and opportunity that I feel you should grab with both your hands. The prize money, of course, a coveted prize money of rupees 10 lakh for the winning team. And of course, we have prize money allocated for the runners-up team as well of 3 lakh rupees. Second runners-up get 2 lakh rupees, and the third runner-up also gets 1 lakh rupee. So while that is just the moolah, or the prize money as we call it, of course, the winning team will also get a fully paid trip to London and an opportunity to represent HUL at the global finals of Unilever Future Leaders League competition, which is the global competition that is held by Unilever. And of course, you also get a pre-placement interview and a chance to work at Hindustan Unilever in the summer internship program with a monthly stipend of rupees 2.2 lakhs. So, I mean, I'm tired of, talking about what L.I.M.E has in store for all of you, but happy to take on questions that you may have. And I also have Vamika, I have Aditya, and I have Suraj to answer anything that's on your mind. So please, please, please ask all the questions so that, we can clarify whatever's there. I'll just start off, guys. We already have like a lot of questions. So I'll start it off and then maybe we'll take it as it comes. So one of the questions is, do we have to stick to the target segment suggested? I'll take this one. Absolutely, you have to stick to the target segment suggested if you don't want to get penalized in round one itself. So that would be question one. Then there's another question. Aditya, maybe I'll give it to you. Will there be an innovation budget cap we must comply with to ensure solutions are rooted in reality?
Yeah, that's a great question, by the way. So honestly, if you're going for a product innovation, I would say go for it. Yeah, feasibility, use your common sense. I think that's the best budget cap that I can recommend. But just go for it. I think be as creative as you can be. For feasibility, just apply common sense.
Sure. Thanks, Aditya. And the next question is on the rubrics with weightages. Will that be revealed post-session, guys? This is available on Unstop. Aditya has already spoken about this, but it's available on Unstop. So, like Vamika said, do go back, read through the case again, try to relate it to what all we spoke about here, and I think you're good to go. I'll take the next question. Suraj, if you can take this one. Are we allowed to make tweaks to the product, like add like a new flavor or a new feature so as to make the ad more meaningful and more relevant to our target group?
Yeah, I think in a way, when Bhamika was explaining, she did mention this. As long as you stick true to what the brand is, please go crazy with your creativity. Please, any modifications, etc. is fine. If you can create a new product, you might as well do changes in your product as well. That's all right.
Thanks, Suraj. Vamika, my next question will be to you. Someone has asked, how should we go about finding a new target segment? Any recommendations? Is primary research recommended? If so, how can we approach it?
Yeah, no, super awesome. So target segment, so we've given you the 4. But when you select your target segment, I would highly recommend doing consumer work, primary research. It always helps to crack an idea. So for example, if you've selected newbie parents, reach out to like new moms and dads that you know, that through friends, through family, and do understand what are their pain points, what's going on in their mind right now. And how would your product be relevant to the life stage that they're in? And then what is your creative idea? So I cannot stress this enough. Do primary research, do talk to people, and try to understand what's going on and how your product can find relevance in their life.
Super. Suraj, my next question is to you. And someone has asked that L.I.M.E has been instrumental in shaping young managers' understanding of real-world marketing challenges. So how does HUL ensure that cases in L.I.M.E evolve to reflect emerging trends like sustainability, digital-first consumer engagement, and AI-driven insights, so that students are prepared for the future of marketing rather than just the present?
Okay. See, I think actually a fantastic question. We've also tried to keep Lime a little more contemporary with the ages. See, I think I'm going to split this into two. One, which is Lime in itself and the event, and of course the career at HUL, I think, which is the larger question. Uh, See, I think if you heard what I said about the careers, what you want to learn is in your hands. The beauty of a company like this is you have an opportunity to be a part of an iconic brand, or you have an opportunity to be part of brands like Minimalist or brands like Novology, which are today competing head to head with any DTC brand that exists, right? So therefore, opportunities for trying, understanding, learning, failing, doing again are aplenty. Other than this, there is a very regular and consistent effort to upskill people who join HUL. This is done regularly in terms of training, in terms of workshops, in terms of, I mean, that I remember a few weeks back, one of the directors, they themselves had created a workshop on AI and invited brand managers and ran it for an entire day. Now that entire team is now creating videos out of thin air, right? So I think the opportunities are immense. There is a lot of appetite to learn, a lot of appetite to push the boundary. So the only thing that limits is your own imagination, is where I will leave.
Okay. Thank you so much, Suraj. There's a question that I think I will take. If there is any upper limit on years of work experience or age, absolutely not. There is, freshers or people with work experience of any age can obviously enter L.I.M.E as long as you're part of a B school in India. The next question again, would having diversity in the team give extra evaluation points? I can speak on behalf of everyone in this organization. The answer is a resounding no, because this is a meritocracy driven organization. There is no extra evaluation points given to diversity in the team. There is another question on the parameters on which the 20-second ad will be judged on. I think while Aditya spoke about it, do you just want to do a quick refresh?
Yeah, sure. Happy to do that. I think just one thing on the thing. So in your execution, firstly, you don't need to be limited by the people in your team. Yeah. So let's say if you want 6 characters or 10 characters, right, in your ad, and your team is only 3 people or whatever. So then you can of course include more people. So just to clarify that one thing. But how we will evaluate, like I said before, also first and foremost, it starts from relevance. And Vamika shared a great hack that if you know someone who belongs to that PG, let's say newbie parents or corporate girl leaves or whoever, it's always good to sort of use them as a sounding board to say, hey, look, if this brand says this thing to you, would you find it relevant, right? Would it be something that you are interested in? So that's number one. That's the starting point. After that, it has to be in the world of the brand. So if it says, let's say Surf Excel, it stands for tough stain removal. It has to be something around, let's say, at least laundry to say the least, but preferably stain removal. Yeah. So that's the second part. The third is just pure creativity, right? And this is, I mean, of course, this can be a bit subjective, but it's really about the level of uniqueness in the way you are communicating your proposition, your idea, right? And the fourth is hardworking execution. To say that, are you consistent with what your proposition is and your delivery is, right? Because sometimes your proposition, let's say, which is on a one pager, can say one thing, and your delivery can say something completely different, or it can be interpreted as something completely different. So therefore, ensuring consistency in execution is what will bring it all together, right? Because imagine if you're a consumer and tomorrow, or imagine if you're a brand manager tomorrow and building a marketing campaign, consumers are not going to see the thought that has gone behind it, right? They are going to finally see the execution. And how easy is that execution to understand? Many a times is the difference between a good ad and a great ad. So these are the four things: simple, relevance, brand fit, creativity, and quality of execution.
Yeah. I'll just add one thing. In your submission, while while Aditya did mention that the creative execution should speak for itself, uh, we do want to see the sharpness in your idea and the clarity that you have. So, like I was talking about the primary research, understanding the brand, and hence what message you've selected. Make sure you add a slate in the beginning of your piece of content, and that slate should read like a tweet almost, just a 200 character slate copy, which directly explains to us what is the messaging or the proposition that you've selected and what is the target group you've selected for the particular brand. That will give us an insight into the sharpness of your thinking, and then the execution can follow. So ensure that you have that first slate. So the first slate should be on for about 10 seconds, which is the static, and then move into your piece of content. Ideally, a 20-seconder, because you and I both know that nobody is watching longer than that on Instagram. So a 30-seconder with 10 seconds of static, where you put a copy talking about the idea, a sharp copy, and then your 20-second reel.
Thanks, Vamika. Very, very helpful. I think students will now get a fair bit of idea on how to actually submit their advertisement or the campaign that they'll be working on. Just adding on to that, and if you can stay on with me for the next question, does the ad need to be animated or it can feature humans?
Yeah, it can totally feature humans. Yeah, it's up to you. Can be animated, can be AI generated, can have
As
humans.
just adding here, as Srinandan had said, you have technology at your disposal, you have creativity at your disposal. Use it.
Suraj, on that point, maybe my next question will be to you. Someone has asked, what tools or platforms do we usually use for campaign management and analytics?
Specifically in terms of what we use, I mean, we have like a plethora of platforms that we use. I mean, again, there is campaigns that we run on television. There are campaigns that we run on digital. Of course, on what we run on digital, we have brand lift studies. We have dipsticks that we do. This is specifically to what we run on Meta and YouTube. On campaigns that we run on TV, of course, we have specific databases that we subscribe to very regularly, which tells us the success or the result of a particular campaign. And this is something we do clinically at HUL, because, I mean, this is by virtue of the fact that we are the largest advertiser in this country. Therefore, every money spent is hopefully wisely spent.
Yeah, I'll just add, if the question was to do with creative and the task at hand, we do have a image generation tool that's like uniquely HUL's tool called Pencil AI, which is very similar to Midjourney. So if your question was around what are the like new age tools that we're using for like, and because we are a big organization and we can we are pretty much at the core, at the front of all of these technological developments. We have our own tool which is very similar to Midjourney. So if you're planning to use Midjourney, that is the kind of content, if you see on many of our social media pages, that we are putting out. And even for influencer and social campaigns, we have our own tracking tools that look at the input and then the output. So the input being what was the cost of making, what was the cost of that influencer, whatever the cost of production, and the output being depending on what your goal was, the right metric to measure. So as an organization, we're very input to output driven when we're doing measurement. In terms of creation, we have a lot of AI tools at our disposal within the company.
Thanks, Suraj. Thanks, Vamika. Maybe my next question is sort of linked to the previous one, but Suraj, maybe you can take this, and then Aditi, maybe you can add on that. How does HUL measure the success of a marketing campaign?
It's a good question, tough question. You know, fundamentally, everything has to boil down to sales. I think that's the most commonsensical answer. Any campaign that we run has an objective, as long as, and we track objectives very regularly, and most of them end up in terms of conversions and sales, right? So whether it's a TV campaign or a digital campaign, Ultimately, if I have to give a simple answer, it's sales. But outside of that, there are of course other metrics that we track. We track metrics such as brand love. We track metrics on mind measures, on how many people are aware of the communication, how many people are aware of the brand, what do they think of the brand, is it favorable, is it unfavorable, what do we need to do, how is competition performing. So all of these are again tracked as a part of a campaign. So yeah, so that's the answer to what we track in terms of when we run a campaign.
Yeah, and building on that, I think as a company, I mean, I've been here 8 years. I think one thing that we're obsessed with is winning competitively. So along with, of course, sales, what we also track is our market performance in terms of market share relative to competition brands. So of course, all marketing campaigns, uh, the expectation at least is for them to deliver incremental sales and incremental share typically. But as a company, of course, we are not just obsessed with the output metrics. There's a lot of inputs metrics that we also look at, which is, you know, how are consumers responding to the brand, is the brand awareness going up, is the brand top of mind, is that going up. So there's a lot of intermediary metrics which also help you to understand consumer triggers. But of course, the truth of it is always lies in the sales and the share performance.
Thanks, Suresh. Thanks, Aditya. I think the next question is something that is top of mind of a lot of students, I'm sure. So I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of students. When I pose the next question, maybe Aditya, you can take this, Vamika, you can also build on. But given financial constraints, there is a possibility that we are not able to put forward the idea behind an idea. Maybe the video lacks finesse or video quality, etc. So would ads be given preference if the quality is better?
Absolutely, I think this I can very comprehensively say absolutely not. So I think maybe I can clarify what I meant with when I said execution. Yeah, maybe I think that is what has caused this confusion. So when I say execution, it's basically about, let's say, I mean, let's take an example. So let's say if you want to do let's take a brand that is not in the list. So let's say Dove as a brand wants to talk to green flag men, right? And it talks to them about uh, that it cares for them as well. As I mean, Dove as a brand. Now, therefore, there is a proposition, right? That Dove cares for you. That has to come out. It is not about, let's say, what special effects you're using. If you're using AI, like Suraj said, right? You can It can just be a purely human performance. It can be AI. It can be a mix of both. And like I said, I mean, it can be your friends who perform on behalf of you. What we will look at more than anything else is just how well are you bringing your proposition alive, and are you consistent. Because if your first 10-second tweet is talking about something and the next 20 seconds is talking about something else, even if it is the best production in the world, it doesn't land the point that you wanted to land in the first place, right? So I would say don't obsess over that. It can be a lo-fi chill hop execution, uh, but it needs to be consistent.
Cool. The next question, Suraj, I pose this to you. Someone has asked, what skills are most in demand for marketing professionals today?
Um, I'll add a few, maybe Vamika and Aditya, you can add as well. I think if I go to basic skills, I would say curiosity is right at the top for me. Wanting to know about the consumer intimacy is a skill that needs to be built, and I think that's number two. Um, I think that the third one is keeping abreast of what's happening in terms of how consumers are changing, how consumers are interacting. What technology has ensured is democratization of content, and therefore how have these intricacies moved around in the last few years. I think that's again one thing that is a skill that one would ideally, according to me, need to have. The next one is keeping abreast with technology, right? the ability to learn, the ability to keep in touch with anything that's come through AI or anything that will come in the future. In between, there was all of this metaverse and etc. etc. So as technology keeps improving, how do you keep in touch with that? So yeah, these are the 3-4 things according to me are very necessary for a marketeer today. Business analytics etc. exists, but the rest I will. If Aditya and Vamika have anything to add, please go ahead.
No, I mean, I resonate completely with what Suraj just said. I think the only thing I would add is I think drive and is something that we would look for, and I think is important as a marketer, because a lot of times you have the curiosity and the empathy and you know something in your gut, or you've done the consumer work, you've done the research, but then you need to have the drive to be able to lead it from just the insight to action, and take the whole team along, because you can't launch a campaign or a product alone. You need to take everyone along if you want to see some fruit of the labor you've put in. So I think having drive is super important. And like Suraj mentioned, I think right now as a marketer, the ability to handle change, to not get anxious as tools change, as things change, as consumers change, as you'll see in this case as well, to have that curiosity to take any kind of change in your stride, I guess.
I just want to bust a myth. At least I had this when I was in college. I don't know if people are probably wiser now. Is that marketing is, it's not like it's for the left brain or the right brain. Yeah, it's I mean, there is a lot of data. There's a lot of creativity that you can exhibit. It's not it. There's no one kind of personality type. I think, of course, drive, empathy, curiosity. These things are non-negotiables. But and consumer centricity. But in today's world, I think you can be a data pro and still be a great brand manager, or you can be a purely creative mind and still be a great man. So I think that's one myth that I would like to bust, because it was my myth when I was in college.
Thank you so much, guys. I'll take a quick question before I also go on to the next one. So someone has asked, what is the submission deadline for the first round? So guys, it's 10th of September. And someone has also asked if second year MBA students can register and apply and participate in L.I.M.E. L.I.M.E, unfortunately, is only exclusively for first year MBA students. So when you were in MBA last year, you must have participated in L.I.M.E, and it is exclusive competition for first year students. So with that, maybe a question to all three of you. People have asked which campaign of yours, I'm sure you have multiple campaigns to talk about, but which campaign of yours had worked the best, so as to have an idea if the emotional engagement or the glamour, so what is it, what engages the audience, and so that we can work in reference to that. Suraj, maybe you want to start.
Okay, so I think I'll speak about a campaign that I worked on. I think one that worked the best for me was Vim Black. I'm not sure if you've not heard about it, just go type Vim Black. You will see a lot of controversy. And I think that suffice to say that I was very excited in working for the campaign. It was for a very specific reason. We wanted men to start washing dishes. I was working with Vim then. And yeah, it's a little provocative campaign, but I think it hit the right or the wrong chords and did what it had to do, which is elicit emotion and drive up brand love, which was the key objective for the campaign.
Great. Perfect. Yeah. I'll go next. So before Horlicks, I used to work on this brand called Taza. It's mostly consumed in the Hindi heartland. So there's this campaign. So the campaign idea, what we call is wit for tat. There's an ad. You can see a girl is at the railway station, and this sort of local goon comes and bullies her, and she has a cup of Taza and gives it back. So I think what really works with consumers is, firstly, they want, enjoyment matters, right? Because there is, like I said, there's a host of information that they're being fed. So to stand out, you need to be enjoyable. And enjoyment doesn't always mean comedy. In this case, it did, but doesn't always have The second thing that works with consumers is two things. Yeah, and it's a very fine balance. One is relatability. What the story that you're telling needs to be relatable to them, but it also needs to be aspirational. So, and I do a lot of consumer work. A lot of consumers recall the story about how a woman in UP stood up to, let's say, a local goon of a politician. So yeah, so that balance of relatability and aspiration really drives great outcomes with consumers. And of course, your brand needs to stand out, because otherwise they'll just say that it was some tea ad and go buy some other brand. So yeah, so I think those are the three things I'd say that really stands out in my opinion.
Yeah, I think for me, the recent campaign that we did on Taj, it was called Chai Basuri. We just executed it in April. And you can again YouTube check it out on YouTube. But I think what worked for us, and just a quick thing on the campaign, what we did was that we created this huge tea kettle on the banks of the Krishna River in Vijayawada, and for the first time ever, through the boiling of tea, music was created. And I think the reason why this campaign worked was three things. One, it had the category and the brand right at the center, and that's something that I echo from what Aditya said, which is that you could not imagine this campaign for any other brand, because Taj has always stood for has always had classical music in its communication. So it's almost like a consumer does not need to think to make that connection. And I think campaigns that work are the ones that don't require the consumer to put an effort to put one and two things together. They naturally flow, so the consumer didn't need to think. It was very obviously a Taj campaign. It also had the category at the center, which is tea. And the third thing was that it gave them something super new and innovative, which is why they actually watched the video. I think that was really key, because the way that we did the communication, it felt like, hey, we didn't even think this was possible. This is so unconventional, extremely bold, and it gave a reason for the consumer to spend whatever 30 seconds, 40 seconds of their life to actually watch the video end to end. And because it was well branded, and by well branded I mean not just put Taj here and there, it understood the brand's ethos. There was a recall, and it actually led to metrics of success. It led to awareness, like that I was talking about earlier in terms of metrics, right? It led to awareness measures going up and resulted in sales in that geography. So I think if there is anything you can take out from this, have brand at the center, have category at the center, and ensure it's enjoyable execution that somebody would actually want to engage with.
Just one
Not to
thing I want to
mention
add.
that.
If anybody wants to know, sorry,
Yes,
Pallavi,
yes.
just 1 second. Add something. I think if anybody wants to see communication, Kans is always there. I think a great start point would be
Yeah.
to just out Kans winners, or even those who are shortlisted. I think it'll give you a fair idea of what all of us have been saying about brand at the center and great storytelling.
Perfect. I think, Suraj, that is exactly what I was going to end it with. Not to mention, but Vamika's campaign went on to win the bronze recently in Cannes as well. So a feather added to her cap. And thank you so much. I think this is a great point where we end this live on a high. Thank you so much for sharing these stories. I'm sure there are many more. Honestly, I have been here for the past 5.5 years, and every day, even I keep learning, be it at the brew cafe or while walking on the street or during meetings like these. So, always a place for learning more, performing, being very, very close to the business. That's what HUL is all about. And we are very excited, like Suraj said, Aditya, Vamika, all of us, we are very excited to see what do you guys have in store for us, and all your creative campaigns, all that creative might, how you put that to use. Super excited. Hope to see, some of you in the semi-finale and the grand finale for Line Season 17. On that note, and on behalf of my Line squad, I'm signing off. But super, super, super excited to see all your submissions. All the very best to all of you. Thank you.
All the best, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Pallavi, Suraj, Aditya, Vamika, and thank you to all of you for joining us this evening. We hope your questions were answered and that you're walking away with a clearer picture of what makes season 17 of Lime so exciting, super exciting. Before we sign off, a quick reminder the QR code for registration is up on the banner in the lobby. Do make sure to register. We're looking forward to your exciting submissions, and don't forget the deadline to submit for round one is 10th September. Deadline 10 September, make a note of it. Ladies and gentlemen, season 17 of Lessons in Marketing Excellence promises to be bigger, bolder, and more relevant than ever before. This could be the beginning of your journey into marketing excellence, so register now and be part of Line Season 17. On behalf of HUL and CNBC TV18, thank you once again for being part of this virtual launch. Wishing all the participants the very best, and here's to making Lessons in Marketing Excellence Season 17 an unforgettable journey. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.
CNBC TV18 and Hindustan Unilever Limited. Lessons in Marketing Excellence. Season 17.